Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to get started here in just a moment. We're just giving everyone a chance to join in. We've got quite a few attendees who are registered for this event. So in just a couple minutes, we'll get started. I'm joined by Dr. Mike Wallace, who's going to give a more formal introduction here in a moment. But we're going to be focusing today on Tulane SOPA and our Homeland Security and Security Studies program. So we're going to be talking about all of our various programs of study, different levels that you can achieve. And then we're also going to go into detail about the application process. So if you have any questions along the way, please make sure to use that chat or Q&A function, and we'll be sure that we're able to respond to anything that you raise. And we'll also have a part at the end where we're going to be able to just take only question and answer. So if there's something that comes up along the way, make sure to submit that to us. So to give you guys a really brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be talking about the history of Tulane, history of Tulane SOPA, what we offer. So that's going to be really specific to the Homeland Security program today. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how we support student success, how to apply tuition and financial aid, and then we'll move into that Q&A part at the very end. So I briefly introduced myself, but I wanted to turn it over to Dr. Michael Wallace so that he could give a little bit of a brief introduction of his background so you can understand some of his really wonderful work experience.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Chris. I appreciate the intro. My name is Michael Wallace. I'm a retired Navy intelligence officer. I spent 20 years in the military and a wide variety of positions. You can see them here on the bio. I won't read it to you. I've been here at Tulane for 5.5 years. Love this job. Love training the next generation of students who will be in Homeland Security and security management type jobs. And look forward to answering any questions you might have today.
Thank you so much, Mike. So I really briefly introduced myself earlier, but my name is Chris Lloyd, and I'm an admissions associate here at Tulane SOPA. So I work closely with all of our prospective students, as well as people who are already in the process of applying. So from that evaluation period all the way through enrollment, I'm going to be your primary point of contact. So there's no question too big or too small. And then Dr. Wallace is going to be able to give you that really dialed in perspective about the program. So we're going to go into depth in that here in just a moment. So Tulane was initially founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. And then about 15 years later, you had the first continuing education classes offered. So you're looking at over 130 years of a commitment to adult learners. So if you were looking at Tulane SOPA as its own independent institution, we would be one of the oldest institutions of higher learning focused on adult learners here in the Southeast. So I think it's a really powerful commitment that we've made. And when we relaunched in 2017 as the School of Professional Advancement, we made major changes to our programs of study, part of which is our delivery model. So we have online and on-campus programs, and then you also have that combination of online and on-campus. So whether you're in the South Louisiana area and you want that in-person experience, or you're someone where you're dialing in from any part of the world or any part of the country, you're really going to be able to engage with your coursework. So those delivery models could be like an asynchronous format where you're able to watch it on your own time, and then you respond to your coursework based on the deadline set by your instructor. And then some of it may be that synchronous where you're getting to actually have that live experience that mimics being in a classroom. So you're seeing your professor, you're getting that lecture delivered live. So depending on what format works best for you based on your obligations and your preference, there's going to be a lot of options for you. And then as far as those in-person classes, they're offered daytime, nights, and weekends. Majority of them are going to be offered at our Elmwood location, but there are also classes that are offered at the Uptown location as well. So there's really a lot of different ways that you can engage with your professors, with the faculty. And I think Dr. Wallace is going to be the most qualified to really tell us those detailed nuances about our bachelor's and master's degrees, as well as our certificate programs. Can I turn the floor over to you, Mike?
Sure, thanks. So we have a lot of different options for students in the Emergency and Security Studies program. We offer bachelor's and master's degrees. We offer a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security Studies. And then we have a number of master's degrees, starting with Emergency Management, Security Management, and Homeland Security Studies. The Emergency Management and Security Management are actually two of the newest ones. I think Emergency Management is pretty self-explanatory. Security Management is more focused on private industry. One thing I noticed when I started this job a few years ago was that companies have a lot of the same requirements that public agencies like state, local, and federal agencies do that try to keep the United States safe, but they just go about it in different ways. So we got some experts together from the field and asked them what they wanted to see in a graduate uh, of the program to work for companies. And so that's how we designed that program. The Homeland Security Studies program has been around since 2009. It's one of the best in the country. We consistently get ranked among the top 5 in the country. Um, the structure of that course is you take 4 courses, which are the core courses, and then the remainder 6 are advanced electives that you can pick. Some of the ones that are available to you include cyber, infrastructure protection, law and national security. So we have quite a number of courses. One thing I forgot to mention on the other slide, and Chris is going to get mad at me, are the certificates. We have certificates both in emergency management and in security studies. The neat thing about these, we have our initial certificate, which is 4 courses, it's 12 hours, and then we have an advanced one. And the great thing about these is that they build on each other. So if you are not quite sure about this emergency management or security management stuff, you can take these classes, 4 classes, get a certificate in graduate work, and then if you decide to go back and get the advanced degree or the advanced certificate, you can do that. They do build on each other, so you can actually get a master's out of all that. And lastly, the 4+1 master's program. This is for students who are in the undergrad program and decide that they want to also get a master's degree. You can see here in the senior year, you need to apply for this in your junior year, but in your senior year, you take 2 graduate courses that we offer, and then you will, at the end of this, you will have a bachelor's and a master's in Homeland Security Studies. So I think I covered almost everything. Did I forget anything there, Chris?
No, sir. I think you gave us a pretty good perspective here. And one of the things that I want to also make sure that we're really emphasizing is some of the job growth potential in these fields. So Dr. Wallace has talked a little bit here about what you're actually studying. But if you've been paying close attention to the PowerPoint slides, you see that there's a lot of job growth opportunities here. So whether you're looking federal, state, or local, and then you also have opportunities to apply this to whatever your regional, wherever you are located. So whether you're in South Louisiana, where you're seeing these immediate needs for skilled employees, or whether you're in one of these other metro areas where there's a lot of opportunities for growth. So I just wanted to let everyone know we've just been joined by Dr. Nina Cleveland as well, who'll be able to speak to some of our emergency management programs.
Yeah, and just to kind of reinforce what Chris just said, both good and bad, emergency management, security management, and Homeland Security Studies, they're all growth fields. They're not going to go away anytime soon. And everywhere in the country, you have these organizations, whether it be at the federal level with FEMA and Department of Homeland Security, the intelligence agencies, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Every state has a Homeland Security and Emergency Management organization. And then any town of mid-size or bigger has its own Homeland Security, Emergency Management. And then every county or parish, we have parishes here in Louisiana, have similar organizations. So you can actually tailor where you want to go and what you want to be. And this is a nationwide job market.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wallace. So one of the things that we were talking briefly about as well was about the certificate programs and post-baccalaureate certificates. So something I really want to emphasize is that no matter which level you're at, whether you're someone where you're looking at going into a bachelor's program or whether you've already completed your bachelor's, there's going to be opportunities for you to explore these fields further. So the post-baccalaureate certificates are really great for people who are maybe going through a career change or got their bachelor's in a related field or maybe even an unrelated field, and you want to get that opportunity to really update your skill set. So I want to make sure I called special attention to that because it really is a great way to +1 that existing skills without taking on 120 credits. You know, for a lot of people, that 4 to 5 year timeline to completion as a full-time student is not going to be something that's going to be really conducive to them actually getting that sort of advancement in their professional career that they're looking for. And so that post-baccalaureate certificate at 30 credits is a really powerful tool. It can help you to really gain a foothold and give you that opportunity to move on towards graduate level programs, which I think is one of the really great pieces of it. Is you're able to, in 3 to 4 semesters, if you're really aggressive about it, take on a whole new skill set and then prepare yourself for a graduate level program. So that kind of agility is huge when we're talking about an industry with job growth potential. So Dr. Walls also briefly mentioned about our graduate certificates. So those would be where you're taking, following the completion of your bachelor's or your post-baccalaureate certificate, where you're able to stack those towards your master's program. And those are another way to really leverage that skills that you've learned towards something larger. So being able to do that graduate certificate and stack it towards a master's program is going to make it so that along the way you have something that you can show to potential employers, to your current employers, that shows that you've actually really attained those skills. And having something that is going to show that you have a high level of knowledge with the field and a really specific field of study is going to be really great for you in the job market, and is also going to give you a really easy transition into that master's degree. So it acts as a really great bridge program for you. So since we do have Dr. Cleveland joining us today, I wanted to actually double back and sort of talk about some of the interaction and interdisciplinary nature of Homeland Security and of our security studies program and the emergency management program specifically. So we didn't have it listed on the slides earlier. So I think, Dr. Cleveland, if you could just briefly tell us about the emergency management program and the different levels of study that we have for students, I think it would be really informative for the people who are maybe not sure of like what that exact interaction between them is, or the difference even between Homeland Security and emergency management. Unfortunately, you are muted right now, Dr. Cleveland.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate the chance to talk to folks briefly about emergency management. Emergency management is about those natural and man-made disasters that we have to respond to as communities, states, and as a nation. So we are, this master's program is geared to get the student ready to hit the ground running as an mid-level, upper-level emergency manager. We have a lot of students that are moving from a first responder type career. They want to move up or move into emergency management in more leadership track. So we have courses that enable them to do that, such as Introduction to Emergency Management. We have disaster communications, health and medical issues, Homeland Security, business continuity. We have a defense support for civil authorities course that's in the making. So as well as we try and interweave the ability to get into the literature and develop, so you can develop evidence-based programming as you build a emergency management program. There's a bit of overlap in Homeland Security and emergency management, and Dr. Wallace can really tell you this Homeland Security side of it. But emergency management really is that that support. I mean, that response function for natural disasters, for man-made disasters, and where we overlap is when we are responding to terroristic issues and events. So some people, come kind of interchange the two in programming, but really here we are about sussing the two out, and so that folks can really focus on one area or the other, whichever their interests lie in. Did I cover everything, Dr. Wallace?
Yes, ma'am, I think you did.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cleveland.
Thank you.
Just to really kind of put a bow on what we've been talking about here for the last few minutes, even though there is an interdisciplinary nature to this, I think Dr. Cleveland's hitting on something really important, which is these are very independent programs of study with opportunities for growth within them, but that interdisciplinary nature gives you more tools in your toolkit. So it's really giving you a way to really expand your reach. So doing a concentration within Homeland Security or doing concentration within emergency management, depending on what field or program of study you actually end up in, that's something that's a +1 for you. That's more that you can show a potential employer and a broader band of skills that you have that are within those related functions. And at SOPA, one of our primary goals is we want to prepare you to be able to go out into the workforce and be successful. So part of that is the instruction needs to be representative of what the actual workforce demands. So rather than preparing you to go on to a master's and PhD program where you are strictly staying in an academic setting, our programs have a lot of applied and practical skills, and we want to support your success in that. And part of the way we do that is with our faculty composition. So already you've heard from 2 of our amazing faculty members here who've told you a little bit about their programs of study. But beyond that, we have a really, really diverse faculty who has a lot of industry experience. So the people who are actually teaching your coursework are going to be people who are either functioning in that role, directly relate to that role, or they have the experience to be able to give you enough foresight to where they're actually able to help provide some of that active mentoring by giving you the lay of the land. If you're able to better understand the industry just through your experience with your professors and through your coursework, that's going to give you a leg up when you go out into the field. Some of the other things that we do that I think are really unique to SOPA and are one of our big selling points are our academic advisors. So at the graduate level, you're dealing with people like Dr. Wallace and Dr. Cleveland, where you have very experienced and capable people who are helping you to understand sort of the trajectory that you're setting through your coursework. And then at the undergraduate level, you've got academic advisors that are easy to schedule with, that are tailoring the experience more towards you. So for me personally, I went to a large state school where I did not have the opportunity to really engage with my academic advisor beyond, here's my 15-minute block, and they're running through my transcript rate as I'm getting there and aren't really familiar with me or my background. Our academic advisors know our students quite well. They meet with them through Zoom. So the platform you're watching us on right now, they meet with them in person, over email, over telephone, at our Uptown campus, at our Elmwood campus. So you have a lot of opportunities to really meet with your academic advisors, and you're also the one who does the scheduling. They have online scheduling tools that allow you to actually set how and when you're going to be meeting with them. So that gives you more control over being able to actually engage with the resources that you need. One of those other really great resources is our career services. So Miss Cynthia Washington heads up career services for Tulane SOPA students, and she meets with quite a lot of our students to do things like work on resumes, teach you how to really leverage LinkedIn, how to network, how to actually interview. So maybe if you've gone through a career change and you're unfamiliar with the field beyond what you've studied, Cynthia can really help you to find the appropriate resources so that when you get to that interview stage, you're ready and you know how to sell yourself. You've already learned all of those skills from us that are going to allow you to be successful as an employee. And Cynthia is going to help to give you those skills to really get recognized for that when you're going into that interview. One of the other things that Cynthia can also help get you access to is Tulane has a huge network of people who either know our work with us, alumni, friends of Tulane. So when you're going out into the workforce in South Louisiana, nationwide, worldwide, Tulane has a really strong reputation, but also we have a lot of people worldwide who are working in these various positions who either understand the quality of our work or want to show support for those students who are coming from from Tulane. So, I mean, getting access to that huge network, which may even include the faculty who've been teaching you, is going to be huge because you're going out into the workforce with people who know your quality of work. And then the last piece that I think is really unique to SOPA is our credits for prior learning. So I'll go into greater depth about it here in a second, but this is a way where if you have military experience, you have industry experience, you have the substantial certifications, where you're able to get it recognized and get credits for it. So it's another way where you're able to accelerate your time here and really get through your program of study quicker and get to that end goal of finding that new career or going towards that master's or graduate program. So for the actual application process, you're going to go to our website, sopa.tulane.edu, and you'll see this bright green apply button. From there, you'll create an account, and the whole process for undergraduate should take you less than 15 minutes. For graduate level, you will be doing a little bit of writing, so there is a writing prompt in there. We want to make sure that we understand that you're prepared for all the different obligations and requirements of being a graduate level student, and part of that is reading, writing, research, synthesis. So you are going to be submitting something that actually draws upon academic sources. So this is a great way for us to get to know you, for us to be able to understand where you're at in terms of your academic pursuits. And then the other things you'll need to submit are going to be your transcripts and then a copy of a clear, unexpired ID. So that needs to be your government issued ID, your driver's license, whatever is the case. And we need to be sure that it's you and we can read that it's you so that we have a little bit of authentication that it's actually you submitting to attend. Typically, there is a $40 application fee for undergrad and $50 for graduate. But as a thank you for giving us some of your lunch break and spending time with us today, we'll be waiving that fee. The way you can actually take advantage of that is as long as you're starting your application with the same email address that you used to sign up for this webinar, it'll automatically get recognized and applied. If you've already started that app or maybe it doesn't automatically get recognized, my contact information is going to be shared at the end, and I can ensure that you're able to get that application fee waiver where you can start your journey at no cost to you. So that application fee that you would have normally been paying, put that towards transcripts, towards whatever is going to be able to help you get you closer towards your academic pursuit. So for the transcripts, we are going to prefer that they're going to be electronic. That's going to get you a decision much, much quicker. So with those, you're going to be sending them to SOPA records at tulane.edu. And if you have an institution that's sending it, I'll share the address here in just a moment. But with those, there needs to be a sealed transcript bearing the stamp or signature of the registrar. So it either needs to originate from the registrar or you need to have picked it up and hand delivered it. And it still needs to be in a format where we can use it. If you're still taking classes or maybe you can only get your unofficial transcripts right now, we can definitely use those to get you an admissions decision that is going to be conditional upon those final transcripts. So it's a good way to know whether or not you're actually getting into the program, start planning things like what's your spring semester going to look like, meet with your advisor. So if you are looking at the spring semester, you still do have time. January 1st is going to be the deadline for both graduate and undergraduate. So by January 1st, it would need to be a completed application. That means we would need all of those transcripts, whether they're official or unofficial. And then you would need to have submitted your personal statement, that sample of your writing, so that we're able to effectively gauge whether or not you're ready for the program. And then if you need a little bit more time, you can look at the summer semester with May 15th or the fall semester with August 15th. So no matter what semester you're aiming for, definitely start the process early so that you have time in case there's hurdles that come up along the way. So for spring 2020, you're looking at a tuition rate for undergraduate of $474 a credit hour. And then for graduate, you're looking at $1,039 a credit hour. If you're looking regionally or other similarly situated programs, this is a relatively good deal in terms of the amount of prestige you're getting and the access to high quality professors. So I really can't harp on this enough. You're walking out of here with a Tulane University degree, no commas, no colons, nothing that distinguishes it from any other degree issued by Tulane, but at a rate that is going to be really attainable. So whether that's using financial aid assistance like federal grants, federal loans to help offset your actual cost of attendance, or whether that's things like a yellow ribbon scholarship. So if you are a military service member who's now retired and officially separated out from your unit, you may qualify for a yellow ribbon scholarship that can effectively reduce your out-of-pocket cost to zero. So if you're using your GI Bill, your educational benefits, and then combining it with a Yellow Ribbon Scholarship, you're able to get a world-class education at very low cost. There are very few deals in this world that are as good as that. You walk out with a tremendous education at low cost. And then we also offer discounts where if maybe you don't qualify for those other programs, but you are still active duty, you're a veteran, you're a teacher, you're a first responder, you, work for Orleans or Jefferson Parish in one of those support roles, or you're a teacher. I believe I already said teacher. Sorry. If you're in one of those roles, then you can get a tuition discount, which can help to reduce that cost of attendance. So there's definitely ways for you to be able to structure your attendance and make it so that the financial burden isn't great relative to the return that you get.
Hey, Chris, can I jump in there real quick?
Absolutely, sir.
For the discounts, active duty also includes reserves and National Guard and Air Guard. That's just they list it as active duty, but it also includes that. And then first responders includes law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics.
Thank you so much for catching that distinction, Mike. I think it's really important for those of you who are in one of those buckets to know that you still qualify, and whether you're National Guard, police, law enforcement, whatever grouping you're in, we want to make sure that we are recognizing that and applying that discount for you. But we also want to recognize that professional experience you have. So if you are working in one of those roles, no doubt you've been through numerous certifications, different learning opportunities or trainings where you've had an opportunity to really walk out of there with something that's going to be representative of your skill set. It's something that we can use a portfolio class to recognize. So the credit for prior learning basically works in that you're taking that military experience you had, that professional experience, and you're writing about it in a classroom setting and essentially explaining why it parallels this coursework that you'd be doing and why you should receive credits for it. I know that's kind of a gross oversimplification, so I don't want to lead anyone on by giving you an impression that it's going to be this super simple process. It still is involved. You are still writing about your experience, and you are still doing substantial work for this. But when you compare it to that 24 credits, which would potentially be, if they were 3-credit classes, that's 2 semesters you could lop off right there as a full-time student at the undergraduate level just for getting your experience recognized. And then at the graduate level, you can receive up to 6 credits. So a typical graduate student may only take 6 to 9 credits in a semester. That's a semester closer to your goal that you get. And the portfolio classes are also, they're charged at a lower rate than the graduate course. So you're getting access to credits for the experience that you have already at a lower tuition rate, and you're getting through your degree more quickly. So it's a really amazing opportunity for those of you who have substantial experience through your professional work. So if you have any questions about that process, definitely follow up with me after the session, because I think it's one of the great things that we do, giving you the alternative credit options to for recognizing the work that you've already done. So we've run through all of the content we have for today's session, but we always build in this Q&A session here at the end. So if there's anything that you want to make sure that we're covering, or if you have any questions, use the chat or Q&A function right now so that we can make sure we respond to them and talk through anything that's going to be really important to you. But in the event that you don't have those questions now and they come up later, my contact information is shared on the screen right now. So for those of you that are call-in listeners, you can get in contact with me at clloyd3@tulane.edu. That's cloyd3@tulane.edu. Or you can give us a call at 504-865-5333. I can connect you with Dr. Wallace, Dr. Nina Cleveland, as well as any of our academic advisors. So definitely start the process now with that free application that you have, the application fee waiver, and then you can start filling in those details while you're working on that application. So Josu was asking, how many classes can you actually take full time? So it's going to be dependent upon what obligations you have and you're actually able to fulfill. But at the graduate and undergraduate level, it's really just going to depend on prerequisites. I believe the limit that you actually will hit for undergraduate is 20 credits. Mike or Nina, do you know for sure what that limit's going to be for undergraduate?
I think it's 19, but I can check on that.
Yeah,
I
so
know for graduate, 6 is considered part-time and 12 is full-time. I'm sorry, 9 is full-time. 9 is full-time. You can take up to 12.
yeah, and from what you've seen, you wouldn't really recommend people taking beyond 9, right?
Right. This is, I saw the other question about accelerated program. Um, the coursework that we have here is very demanding. Our instructors, like Chris mentioned, are actually in the field that they teach. So I would not recommend, if you are working, taking more than 6 hours. You can take 9 hours. It's going to be a lot of work, but 6 seems to be a good balance between your personal life, school, and work. And believe me, it is vital that you keep all those 3 parts very happy. You'll be happier after you finish the degree if you do that. If you are doing this as a full-time job, then by all means you can take up to 12 hours. But just realize that this is some of the courses require a lot of writing. A lot of this profession, whether it's emergency management, homeland security, or security management, requires that you are able to express certain important things very quickly. And so there's a lot of writing to kind of reinforce that. But yeah, I would not recommend more than 6. If you're working, you can go up to 9, but anything past 9, I would not recommend.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace. I think you also hit on something really important, which is for people who are balancing multiple obligations, recognizing that homework is going to be a big part of this and you need to build in time for that. So while you might physically have the time to take that 4th course, having the time to do the homework and be able to engage with your coursework is going to be really important. So if you're not building in that time, it can all catch up with you at the middle of the semester or end of the semester when things start getting due. So set yourself up for success by not overloading yourself. Minerva was asking about how does the application process for the graduate certificate program work? So it's exactly the same as our graduate program application. You go to sopa.tulane.edu, start the graduate level application, and then within there, you'll dial down and define which graduate program you're looking at. So whether that's graduate certificate level or master's level, and then it's going to be the same sort of requirements for that to actually get into the program. And then she also asked the second question, what's the estimated total cost and duration for the online master's in emergency management? So one of the things that's going to affect it is your pacing, because your cost of attendance may change over time as the tuition cost adjusts to inflation. So rough estimate, you're looking at for a master's program, you're looking at 1,000, you're looking at about, including fees and everything, about $3,600 per class at the graduate level. So you got to do the math out from there for the total term of the degree. So with a master's degree, you're looking at, I believe the requirement is 32 credit hours. So
it's 33 for the emergency management. So you're looking approximately $36,000.
Yeah,
now, that's before any discounts. So again, if you're a veteran or you're in military currently, and that includes, like we mentioned, the reserves or National Air Guard, or if you're already in the field. So
took the words right out of my mouth, Mike.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That just means like you're hitting on the right themes there, which is that, you know, those discounts can really lower that cost of attendance and make it so that it can make this more attainable for you. And so when you're looking at that big number of the tuition overall, I recommend using our tuition calculator on our website, because it's going to actually ask about your specific circumstances and then be able to give you a calculation based on that. Because our rough math won't be nearly as close as that tuition calculator. So I want to direct people towards that, so that if there is a circumstance that maybe we don't know about, that you actually get that final number you're looking for. So someone else asked, is there no difference between online and normal student tuition for MPS and security management? So SOPA has a standard tuition rate regardless of if you're taking online or on campus. You may have fees that occur depending on how the course is delivered. So whether that's the online or in person, and if you're paying these certain student service fees and things like that, but it's going to be very minute. It's not going to be something to where you would actually, when you scale it over the term of your degree, to where you would actually see like a major cost difference. And then Josie was asking, at what point in the admissions process do you perform a portfolio assessment for prior learning? So the portfolio is not a part of the admissions process. This is a part of once you actually get into the school and you are using it, you're using the portfolio class to get those credits recognized. So this is something where you would work with your academic advisor as well as the director of the credits for prior learning. So Dr. Jalila Omerbasic, and they would be able to help direct you towards that process. So generally when you're meeting with your advisor, you're going to be talking about the sort of certifications and experience that you do have, and they're going to be able to point you in that right direction for if it's going to be appropriate for you to do the portfolio assessment. So don't really factor the portfolio piece as much into your admissions as much into when you're planning semesters and looking at once you're actually in as a student. So it looks like we've gone through all the questions that have been raised so far. So I just wanted to give one final opportunity. Dr. Cleveland, Dr. Wallace, is there anything that you want to share with those of us who are here?
It looks like you had one more question there, retired law enforcement. Yes, as I understand it, if you have a post-certification or the equivalent, yes, you will get the discount. Final words, be happy to talk to anyone who has any questions about the field, possibilities for employment, anything else like that. More than happy to talk to people. Again, we feel that this is more of a calling than anything else. We're in the profession of helping people, and we want to make sure that you are the best prepared that you can be to go out into the real world and do this stuff. Our goal is to make sure that when you graduate, you can walk into any agency, whether it be Homeland Security or emergency management, get some basic training about, their specific training, but you already have the basics and you can hit the ground running on this. I joke with Chris and we're training the next generation. Y'all are going to take care of us someday. So we want to do a good job.
I just want to echo what Mike said about accessibility. We are very accessible to anybody who wants to reach out and ask those questions and learn more about the field and how to get into that. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time. There's another chat, I think, as well.
Yeah, so Marianne was asking about if there's any discounts for retired federal law enforcement officers. I believe you would still be covered under that law enforcement officer tuition discount, whether you're federal, state, whatever your jurisdiction is, you would still be recognized for that service. And then it looks like we may have one more question. This one's directed towards you, Dr. Wallace. Would you say that a BA in Homeland Studies would be beneficial for a future as a military officer?
Yes, and it also depends on what you want to do. But you can't go wrong with understanding terrorism, understanding intelligence. Intelligence is